Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I would like to say, Call Allah Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakodash. That is to say, all praise to the Most High God, whose name is Yahweh, and the name of his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, through the Holy Spirit, Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of the great millstone who taught us this truth. Shalom to the 144,000. As well as to the rest of the hopeful elect of Israel scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth among the heathen that look like the heathen. This your brother Yara Damba from the GMS branch here in Chicago, coming back at you with what I hope to be another short yet edifying lesson. All right. And this topic of this lesson is going to be about that first 1,000 years in the kingdom, which a lot of people like to call the millennial reign, right? And this topic was or this lesson was inspired because I opened up my YouTube app earlier today, and I seen a page that I used to watch before I came into this truth, and he did a video about the millennial reign. I just knew it was gonna be off, and he came in there with that whole doctrine about how it's gonna be 1,000 years with Yahweh Shai. Of course, he doesn't have the name, but Yahweh Shai living on the earth, or reigning on the earth, and then Satan gonna come back and try to take over. Then he gonna get judged and blah blah, this, that, and the third, and it just brings a lot of confusion, right? Because it's not the truth of the topic or the truth of the matter. And the problem is, a lot of people go into this chapter, which we're going to start here in the book of Revelation, the 20th chapter. They go into this chapter and try to read it straight through, and without the understanding that this chapter does not go in chronological order, verse by verse, man. So the real way to read this would be 1 through 3, and then you would jump down to 7 through 10. Then you would go back to 4 through 6, and then 11 through the end, right? So that's that, man. That's really that, and we're gonna actually prove that and show why that's the case, and then that's going to lead into talking about the purpose of that first 1,000 years of the kingdom of heaven, right? Which will be led by Yahweh Shai, the 144,000, and then the rest of the elect, and then eventually all of Israel shall be saved, man. So Revelation 20:1, it says, "And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand," right? And that bottomless pit represents Europe. The chain representing slavery, right? Because this is going to, we'll explain it a little bit more in a second. It says, "And he laid hold on the dragon, the old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years," right? So this 1,000-year period right here is speaking on the Dark Ages, or the Byzantine Empire, right? When Jake was ruling in Europe, all right, and that's what that chain represents, them going into a bondage, so to speak, right? And that old. It said he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan. That's going into Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, who was ruling at that time. And we understand that he is the dragon because when you read in Revelation, the 12th chapter, it says what? That dragon looked to devour the child as soon as he being born. And that child is who? Yahweh Shai. And who did that? Herod, the Roman Empire, right? So that's just a little bit of history to show you that, yes, this is going into Esau, Edom right here. Continuing on in verse 3, it says, "And cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. After that, he must be loosed a little season." So that goes into what? After the Dark Ages, you had the Renaissance, or the rebirth, right, of the ways of the philosophies of Esau, Edom, coming back into a power seat, so to speak, right? Continuing on in verse 7. It says, "And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. And they went up on the breadth of the earth, and compassed the camp of the saints about in the beloved city. And fire came down from the Most High out of heaven, and devoured them. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever," right? So verses 1 through 3, we're talking about a totally different 1,000-year period. All right. Now we get to verse 4, it says, "And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushai and for the word of the Most High, which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Mashiach 1,000 years, right? So this is going into what they call the millennial reign, which is just that first 1,000 years in the kingdom, right? It says, but the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. But blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death hath no power, but they shall be priests of the Most High and of Mashiach, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. And we're going to show why that 1,000 years will be so important, man. Verse 11, and I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heaven fled away, and there was found no place for him. And I saw the dead, small and great, but stand before the Most High, and the books were open, and another book was open, which was the book of life, and the dead were judged out of those things which are written in the books according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them, and they were judged every man according to their works. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death, proving to you that what? There is no place called hell where you burn for all eternity, man. It says hell was cast into the lake of fire, and the lake of fire is what? America, Babylon the Great. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. And that lake of fire is going to be caused by the thermonuclear missiles, man. All right. But we just read through I just wanted to make sure we read through that chapter, get a quick little synopsis of what was going on. But I want to focus in on verses 4 through 6, right? That 1,000 years that the reign, that first 1,000-year reign of Mashiach, right? Because it's not going to be a thing where after 1,000 years, you know, when Jake is perfect, new bodies, immortals, that a group of people or Satan comes back and tries to fight them. No. All right. Not so. The scriptures don't say that. The scriptures don't support that. But what will be happening is the heathen, right? They're going to be ruled over with a rod of iron, and we're going to prove that. But why can we specifically say that that's the heathen first and foremost? Because of what prophecy says. All right. Everybody, the Israelites will be perfect. Let's prove it in the old and the new. Jeremiah 31, and we just going to get straight to the point at 31. It says, behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, saith the Lord Yahweh. But this shall be my covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord Yahweh. I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their power, and they shall be my people. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Lord Yahweh. For they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith the Lord Yahweh. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more. Right? So that said, with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, we won't even have to teach each other. All right? And the New Testament backs that up as well. Let's go ahead and prove it, because it quotes it. Hebrews 8 and 8. For finding fault with them, he saith, behold, the day is coming, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith the Lord. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord Yahweh. I will put my laws in their minds and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people. And they shall not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Lord, for they shall all know me, from the least to the greatest. And that also shows you that there will be an order in the kingdom of heaven, right? From the least to the greatest, there's an order. But nevertheless, it says that, hey, Israel won't have to be taught the law, statutes, and commandments, because they will be under the new covenant. They will be perfect. But then on the flip side, you have this. And now let's get into the meat and potatoes of it, right? This is the book of Micah, chapter 4, and I'm going to start at the top. It says, but in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of the Lord Yahweh shall be established in the top of the mountains, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow into it. And many nations shall come and say, come, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord Yahweh, and to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his path. For the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of the Lord Yahweh from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among many people, and rebuke strong nations afar off, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Right? So we, in one and in the Hebrews and the Jeremiah that we just read, it said what? That Israel won't have to learn. Well, Israel won't have to be taught. But the heathen will. That's what we just read here. Right? It says that they will go up to the mountain of on the Lord Yahweh and be taught of his ways, right? But what is going to be the punishment, right? Because that's going to be the first 1,000 years of the kingdom, man. Teaching the heathen the righteousness of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, the righteous ways of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, right? And they're going to be punishments if they don't do it, which is also going to show you that they are not under the new covenant, man. Because those under the new covenant will sin no more, because they will be perfect, right? Let's see what this says. It's the book of Zechariah, chapter 14 and 16. It says, and it shall come to pass that every one that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord Yahweh of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, Yahweh of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not, that have no rain, there shall be the plague wherewith the Lord Yahweh will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. This shall be the punishment of Egypt and the punishment of all nations that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles, right? So, hey, if they were under the new covenant, right, they would be they wouldn't have to even think about coming to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. They would just do it. But there's a punishment just in case they don't. Why? Because they're not under that new covenant. But this also shows that first 1,000-year period is what? Getting them in order, man. That's what that first 1,000 years is actually going to be. Getting the heathen in order. Okay? And let's prove that a little bit more. Because that was part of the inheritance that was promised to our Lord Yahweh Shai. Right? This is the book of Psalms chapter 2, and I'm going to start at verse 7. It says, I will declare the decree. The Lord Yahweh hath said unto me, thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. Right? Speaking of Yahweh Shai. Verse 8, ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with the rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. Right? And us being joint heirs with Yahweh Shai, where we not promised the same thing. Let's get it. Revelation, the 2nd chapter. Let's go down towards the bottom here. All right. Revelation 2 and 25. But that which ye have already, hold fast till I come. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. Right? So that's going to be that first 1,000 years, man, is breaking them down so they can actually learn the ways of righteousness, man. That's going to be needed. We're going to have to cleanse the earth, man. Of course, the earth is going to have to be cleansed in a physical sense, but hey, in a psychological sense too, man. We have to get rid of all of these ways of the heathen, man. It's not going to be allowed in the kingdom. All right, so and that shows you that what? Yes, the heathen will be in the kingdom. But the kingdom is not for them, right? The earth was made for Israel's sake, okay? And that's point blank, period, man. But, hey, after that 1,000 years, showing you that there will be a difference, dang, I just lost my train of thought. After that 1,000 years, Esau will be done away with, but the rest of the nations get to go back to their land, and we're going to end off right here just proving that point, man. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 9. Just starting at 9. It says, I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. I beheld then because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed, and given to the burning flame. And as concerning the rest, so it said that beast was given to the burning flame, right? And that represented Esau Edom. the Roman Empire at the time, right? Continuing on, it says, as concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season of time. So now that gets to the point where, guess what? All right, after that 1,000-year period, they get to go back to their lands, but they have to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. And if they don't, that's when we get back to the, hey, all right, no rain, all the plague, boom, judgment is coming. All right. So that's what that 1,000-year period is for, man. That's getting the earth in order, man. Getting the heathen in order, ruling over the heathen, man. And the Lord said what, man? Or the Lord didn't. It's in the scripture, so yeah, the Lord said it technically, right? But let's get it, man. Psalms chapter 149, and we'll read the whole thing and end here. Praise ye the Lord Yahweh. Sing unto the Lord Yahweh a new song, and his praise in the congregation of saints. Let Israel rejoice in him that made him. Let the children of Zion be joyful in their king. Let them praise his name in the dance. Let them sing praises unto him with the timbrel and the harp. For the Lord Yahweh taketh pleasure in his people. He will beautify the meek with salvation. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye the Lord Yahweh, man. And that's written for a reason, man. So that's what we will be doing in that first 1,000 years of the kingdom, which people like to call the millennial reign. All right, so Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson. With that, I want to say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of the great millstone who taught us this truth. Shalom to the 144,000, as well as to the rest of the hopeful righteous elect of Israel, scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth among the heathen, man. Shalom, Kwam Yasharallah, Wa Abba Babal.